Suzie Hunt sitting over there. She's joining me on the panel very shortly with three other of the most beautiful and clever ladies that you've all met before. And they'll be chatting about these issues that you've sent in to us. She's been married for 26 years and she can't for the life of her see how marriage opened up her world. The last 7 years have seen polls that have been consistently wrong. What's the conspiracy theory that we know is happening? Or maybe nothing is happening, we don't know. And finally, a chap writes to us who migrated to Australia. He first came here 35 years ago. His observation is that now we've all become very fat. Stay tuned, Sweet and Sour, starting right now.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Can't even work that out.
She's basically
That's bizarre. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. We're chatting amongst ourselves already because they're all chatsters on tonight's show. You want to meet them straight away, don't you? All right. Hello, Yvonne.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really good. How are
You're
you
telling
going?
me you've got 30/60 vision.
So I see at 6 metres what most people see at 3 metres.
That's huge.
Yeah. So
You're a
basically
superhero.
X-ray vision. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So watch out.
What is
Wow.
that, carrots?
30/60.
Must be. No, genetics.
Carrots.
Definitely genetics. My
I
dad's
don't
the
even
same.
see anything at 3 meters.
Carrots. Carrots. Hello, Luanne.
Hello.
Have you got 20/20 or have you got 30/60? Have you got
There's 60% of things I don't want to see. So I'm okay not having
60-0.
60-30. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm about on your score as well. Nice to see you again. Hello, Suzie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
20/20?
No, I've got all my eyes are buggered.
I wasn't talking about your odds.
Picky-itis.
I was talking about the odds you'd give me if I beat you in a race out the door tonight.
Okay, you win. You win. You win for that as well. I can't see.
Hello, Courtney.
Hi.
You're going to beat the two of us, aren't you?
I have good eyesight. Unfortunately, my son wears glasses and I went and got an eye test recently and I was devastated because glasses are so cool these days. You look so sophisticated.
glasses
There's
are
all
fantastic.
these funky glasses.
Not if
But
I was like,
don't go to that English brand that's flooded our market.
What's that?
what's that?
Specsavers.
Oh.
Cheap shit. Hello, Sweet and Sour.
Oh my God.
My marriage is right. Oh, are you ready? Are you ready?
We're ready.
Hi, Sweet and Sour. Marriage is right for you when it opens up your world. My mum always told me precisely that. Sounds terrific, but I'm married because I thought it was going to be the case. I was totally starry-eyed and in love with my now husband. We've been married now for 26 years, and I can't for the life of me see that my marriage opened up my world. If anything, it's weighed me down with responsibility and keeps me closed in. We have to keep paying the mortgage, the never-ending bills, and just never have any time for ourselves because we're too busy looking after and still fending for our two beautiful but expensive tertiary kids. How can marriage ever open up anyone's world? It's a total myth born of a different era. My kids, two beautiful girls, have said that they're not interested in marriage, yet my husband says it's our responsibility to sell the marriage idea to them to ensure their happiness. What are the panellists' views on this, and will people still be getting in 50 years? Sandra of Stirling in South Australia writes to us. Yvonne,
Yes.
do you like the concept of marriage?
Probably not for me personally. I don't think that it's a necessity. I think it's mostly a social construct. I think in this situation, I really disagree that Sandra's husband thinks that it's their responsibility to sell the marriage and that is required for happiness. Absolutely not. There was a study that came out today.
Today?
Well, maybe not today. It might have been a couple of weeks ago, actually. Recently. A study that came out recently.
But you saw it today?
I saw it today.
Okay.
Which essentially said that the happiest women are women who are single without children, and the happiest men are married men. There was also a similar study.
The happiest men are married men.
Happiest men are married, happiest women are single and without children. There was also a similar study that came out with Norman Swan from the ABC. He was talking about it a couple of weeks ago, about how they were analysing healthy old people, and exactly the same thing. Older women who were the healthiest were single, older men who were the healthiest were married, which I think says a lot about society.
Wow.
So
Lou,
you have daughters.
Lou, in all the research that you've done about relationships and everything, does that stack up, what you're hearing over there?
Not exactly, but anyway, that's not really what the letter's about. The letter's about...
Oh, she doesn't want to have an on-air argument. I get it.
Marriage opens up your... Well... Okay, it opens up your legs. No, that's not what it says. It says it opens up your world. I'm not certain who sold that marriage opens up your world, and it does in certain ways. But the, you know, the bills that you've got and the mortgage that you're paying, because that wouldn't happen if you were single. You're still going to have bills when you're single. You're still going to have all of those things.
You've still got to look after yourself.
We can't blame that on marriage, and in fact it's only half now. And what you actually gain from a marriage, you can't compare that to what it would be like if you were single. So there's fors and against, and there's advantage and disadvantage. You made your decision, and it's not a prison sentence. If you're not happy, you can get out. Don't blame the marriage for your lack of satisfaction in life. Your satisfaction is your responsibility. So if you're not satisfied, don't do any favours to stay there, but work at what you have and make it the best that it can be.
Well done. Oh, goodness me. And it's almost a cliche now. There's no such thing as right and wrong, so you've just got to make every decision work for yourself. That's all. Suzie?
So what I find hilarious about this is that Sandra thinks that she, with her tertiary educated daughters who are beautiful, that she has any control over what they think. Now, as a mother of four expensive, soon to be four, expensive tertiary full-time student living with me, I can honestly tell you they have been born with such a gift to never listen to their parents. Yes. They know everything, they're much more in touch with it. And quite frankly, the fact that you think that your daughters are going to listen to you sell marriage, you are on some other planet. You and your husband are some other planet. Don't waste your breath. They'll do as they wish, and their worlds are open already. And isn't that fantastic? Isn't that absolutely fantastic?
Parents are no longer the greatest influence in their kids' life.
You know,
yeah, I mean, like, isn't that fantastic? It's devastating as a mother sometimes when they just say, oh, Mum, really serious, you have no idea. But it is liberating, and it's fantastic that they have a mind of their own.
Courtney, come on in.
I think what it comes down to is expectation. I mean, it's liberating because she has this all of it comes down to expectation of what marriage is supposed to give us and what we expect from marriage, and we put all this pressure on it. I mean, why do we get married? Because I mean, I think it would be quite a different answer if you asked even the panel, you know, why is it that people get married?
Why would you get married? Everybody's got their own motivations.
Yeah.
Yes, very good angle.
And hence a different outcome.
Yeah,
like whether you're happy or not, how much pressure do you put on it?
We asked you at home to answer this question for us. Will marriage evolve into a completely different thing in 50 years? And here's what you said. Wow. It's going to evolve, it's going to change. 70% of people are absolutely convinced of that, and 30% of people got no idea what's going on, really, have they? When we come back, we're going to be talking about why are all the polls wrong over the last X number of years? Why are they all wrong? We'll see if the panellists have got any answers for us. Don't go away, sweet and sour. Why are they all wrong?
Right here on Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Yes. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. We have to stop now. We're still chatting amongst ourselves. If you'd like to send us a letter and have it discussed by our panellists, send it to one of these 5 social media contact points appearing on your screen right now. There they are. Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and our website as well. And for every letter that we like and we chat about, we're going to send you to the movies. And this week we're sending you to Red Joan, courtesy of our favourite lady, Natalie Cameron. Thank you, Nat. You're all my favourite ladies, I must tell you. Dear Sweet and Sour. So the polls consistently told us more than 50 consecutive times that we will elect a Labor government. We didn't. We were told by the polls Hillary Clinton was going to be elected. She wasn't. We were told by the polls that Brexit would not happen. It did. Over the last 7 years, the polls have been consistently wrong around the world. So what's really happening? We know electronic results can be manipulated. Is that what's happening here? Are the pollsters using poor methodology all of a sudden? What does everyone think's going on? Are people lying to the pollsters? And is this the new phenomenon happening in polling? Consistently wrong? Are the Russians and Chinese manipulating our systems? I sound like that Batman leading, don't I? Will Commissioner Gordon find...
Exactly.
I'm just at a loss. Meg of Sorrento, Victoria writes to us, Lou, what do you think's happening? Do you know what's going on? Have you got any Have you got any interest with it?
Well, my interest level is really pretty low, number one. And number two, why does it have to be the Chinese and the Russians doing something? Is that not a little bit kind
Actually,
of
you know what?
far-fetched?
Everybody's
And
got the same technology. It doesn't have to be any of those. It
And
could
why
be
would they
our
want to?
American friends as well.
And plus
And
the
it might
fact-
be none of them.
And really, if we're listening to, oh, OK, Collingwood might win the grand finals against the... I mean, or this horse might win the race, they're definitely going to win because we've got all the odds stacked to, you know, in their favour.
Doesn't happen anyway.
When we're starting to listen to the predictions of what may or may not happen, not even the Weather Bureau gets it right every single time, and they've got really good methodology. So I'm just thinking, chill out. It is what
it's
it is.
actually a
Vote to
good
who you
thing
want.
that we're
and
not relying on them now, and we're learning to not rely
because
on
that is
them.
manipulating the system, just saying, well, these people are going to win. Well, I don't really want them, so I'm going to vote for somebody that I don't really want, and I don't really want this one, I don't really want that one. And then you're voting for somebody that has got really no clue. It's just...
It's interesting. I wonder if the demeanour of our senior Labor politicians might have been different if they didn't have 50 consecutive wins from the polls going into the election. And they might have revamped some of their policies earlier.
It's all just hearsay and guesswork.
Your generation thinks what of polls?
Polls, unreliable, totally. I mean,
dancing.
I don't know if my generation does, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that from the conversations that I've heard, they're totally unreliable. Actually, interestingly, there's someone called Professor Belastantic who has been doing a whole lot of research into looking at social media instead of looking at polls. And Belastantic found that during Brexit and during the US presidential election, just through predictions of analysing social media, who liked what, who was commenting on certain things, he predicted that Brexit would happen and predicted that Trump would be elected and predicted that the Liberals would win this election. So we can't rely on polls anymore, but we maybe could rely on social media
We
instead.
should have been looking at social media.
Yep, we should. It's a far more accurate depiction of what might actually happen.
But how do you work out what's going on social media? I don't actually understand
I don't
clarity of
really
message.
know how it works, but it's looking at the number of people that are liking certain things, interacting with certain things, commenting, stuff like that, and then gets an algorithm, punches it all up together and figures it out.
Belastantic might have been just trying to bolster his own publicity. I wonder how they do that, but you never know. You have to be cynical in this world, don't you? Because you always put the onus on other people if you are for these sorts of things. No?
No, you don't have to be cynical.
Well, I think you do when it comes to politics.
Toss.
Courtney,
I've never done a poll.
no one's ever rung you?
No,
No one has ever rung you and canvassed your view?
no.
Do you
I've
live
never
in a
done a
safe
poll.
seat?
In a what?
In a safe seat. Do you
In a what?
A safe,
A safe seat. What's a safe
are
seat?
you in a safe seat right now?
I feel safe.
in a safe seat?
I feel safe next to you.
You can adjust the level if you like.
I have never done a poll.
No one's ever contacted you?
Never.
Nor have I.
Maybe like
I
5
have.
calls a
Never.
month.
Maybe I've never.
I have. I've
But
done a few.
I live in a safe seat. So
What
they
does that
don't-
mean?
Safe seat means always the same party wins. I'm in Curtin,
okay.
so Julie Bishop was our
see,
thing.
yep.
You know, the world would have to fall over before it wouldn't be a Liberal seat.
Was
So-
Julie Bishop, was our Liberal contender ever in danger because of the challenger who
I don't know.
made it blue with her polling results? Do you remember
I
that?
have to say,
Yeah.
I think there would have been a really interesting outcome, and people would have actually really thought about that. what they were voting. Because, yeah, I think... But I want to say...
Ladies, what's going on? What's going on with the polls?
Well, for me...
The polls don't work.
I mean, yeah, sorry, you go.
No, because I just think that forgetting about the polls, you have to actually vote. You have to think about if you're going to vote, you have to think about it and ignore the papers. They're all, I mean, the media
polls
is
don't work anyway.
They don't work, and really, it's not about what the polls are saying. It's what you believe and what your voice is saying.
But why don't the polls work anymore?
Well, they don't work because we don't have landlines. In short.
What does that mean?
Well, in landlines, because in the old days they'd ring your landline. They were trying to find in an unsafe seat or a moving seat. They'd ring the landline. They'd ring all these people. They knew where you live. Now they do either robocalling or they ring mobiles, and the mobiles they don't actually know. They're stabbing in the dark. Yeah. And so
hang on. Are the people who are answering on the end of mobiles not telling the truth? What difference should that make?
They don't know where the landline live. They don't know where they live.
So what difference should that make?
Well, because they used to ring the landlines in the targeted area.
Yeah. So now they're getting an older demographic.
Yes.
Courtney, were you influenced by the polls at all?
No.
Not at all?
No, but I don't actually read the paper a lot. Ever really, and things like polls, social media. I feel like it's not as filtered. It's great because people are just voicing their opinions and everyone's just seeing what's happening without that filter. So it's a more honest way of communicating.
We asked a very strange question of you at home. Do you feel China or Russia could be manipulating our political polling? And interestingly enough, 60% of you said yes.
Really?
Almost. Well, 59%, yeah.
How many conspiracy theorists were commenting on that?
Well, could be happening, might not be happening. If they've got the skill to do it, why wouldn't they do it,
What would they have to gain?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Let's spend all
I
that
don't know,
money
just
and all
because
that
we don't
time
know
and energy
doesn't mean that it's happening. We know Russia tried to do similar into the East, and they were trying to manipulate social media.
Yeah, but
So
I don't think Australia is going to get them very much.
We don't know. There's a lot of land here that they might want to land on. When we come back, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about, the changing Australian physique, perhaps, from someone who was a UK resident and now is an Australian citizen. Don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour when we come back.
Right here on Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. Last letter of the evening. Hello there, panellists. I came to Australia more than 35 years ago. Your beach has always stayed in my mind. Beautiful, shining blue waters, pristine white sands that stretch forever and plenty of space. Just magnificent. 4 years ago, I finally migrated from the UK and have made Perth my home. Every season, including winter, is just magnificent on your beaches that I'm now pleased to claim as my own as well. I've noticed two things that are very different almost 40 years on. Every girl on the beach back then could have been a Miss Universe. In fact, I remember a talent scout tapping girls on the shoulder asking if they would like to enter a thing called Miss Summer Girl. Now the number of slim girls, and for that matter slim guys, has diminished so much they'd have more luck running a competition today called Miss Sumo Girl. Practically everyone in Australia has become so fat. What is it with that? Secondly, the behaviour on the beach is just appalling. Where has everyone's moral compass gone? There I was with my wife enjoying the beach when this couple decided it would be a great idea to copulate on the beach right in front of everyone for no other reason than they felt the urge and didn't have better judgment to do otherwise. So, can someone explain to me why Aussies have become so fat and so uncouth in the last 40 years? Brian of Greenwood in WA. Obviously, the sight of that in front of him has caused him to write. Susie, that's not representative of us, is it? We've got larger. We've undeniably
I was
have
going
got
to say,
larger.
there's two parts to this that I'd like to answer. One is that we've got larger, definitely. But that's not just women, that's actually men
He says
and
that,
women.
and men.
Yeah, I know, but he
Slim
goes sumo girl, and it's sort of quite a sexist undertone, But I actually think the difference also is that 40 years ago, he had English rose-tinted glasses on, because whenever
And on holidays.
when I go to the beach, I see these amazing men and women. I'm thinking, oh my God, how fantastic do they look? I mean, but I can also tell him that I grew up near the beach, in a very good beach, in Perth, and I have to say, if I walked down to that beach, I could be guaranteed that I would find a man masturbating or a young couple being very amorous in a local beach.
That's now.
When I was growing up.
When you were growing up?
Yes, 40 years ago.
Has it got better or worse since then?
Well, this beach now has got a beautiful cafe and a restaurant and a playground, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But when I grew up and I walked down to
Brian,
the beach...
it's always been going on, mate.
Always.
Courtney?
Beach makes you randy.
What did you ever strike anything like that?
No, that's not
beach?
my experience at all.
It's
at all.
Susie's.
No.
Well, it was when I was growing up. I won't name the beach.
I've never had that happen to me.
Out the beach.
I mean, I don't
that where
know.
we met?
I've been living in Bondi for the past, for years, and I mean, Bondi, there are no fat people anywhere.
Oh,
it's
wow.
actually quite intimidating.
You're living in the
like
wrong suburb, the wrong city, Brian.
And yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, maybe it's the wrong city.
Maybe it's the wrong beach.
In fact, actually, coming from Sydney, you do notice.
What
there
do
are
you
just so
notice?
many beautiful people in Sydney. It's
Really?
almost And in Bondi, you are a little bit more conscious because it's just like, wow, everyone's living their epic life.
Showing you
being their best
how gorgeous
selves.
they are.
Yeah. So there's a contrast there, but maybe it's just contrast,
Maybe it's just contrast.
and not
Differences.
rose-coloured glasses necessarily,
Yeah,
but just
exactly.
fresh eyes. When you come to a new place and you take it in.
We asked you at home to answer this question for us. Are Aussies very different creatures to what we were 40 years ago? And here's what you said. 90% of people!
Yeah, but
I don't know whether we are.
That's so ambiguous.
Totally.
Are we really
Let's hope
that
that we're
different?
not the same.
Technology has
That's a bit-
changed.
Yeah, exactly. People
I
change.
think we're better.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we're better.
Yeah.
Are we different? We're older?
I tell you, we're not covered in olive oil.
Yeah.
Trying to burn to a
Oh,
crisp.
yes. People do. Come on, Luanne.
That's better.
Okay.
Okay, all right. What's your take on this one?
Look, you don't have to go to the beach to see overweight people. You're seeing them everywhere. It's not just on the beach. And if your purpose of going to the beach is to look at other people, maybe you should think about what you're going to the beach for, because the beach is about swimming and frolicking and having fun and getting
Looking
out
at other
yourself.
people.
And number
Some
two,
people watch.
yeah, people watch, okay, but it's called perving, and you're not getting, if you're people watching at the beach, you want to see semi-naked
freak,
people,
you're
and
a
if you're
freak.
disappointed,
You're
watch
not a
porn
freak.
instead, if you
That's
need
what
to get,
happens.
only skinny people. And, as far as fornication on the beach is concerned, the sunshine makes you horny. That is what happens. And people will make out in the sunshine. It does release...
Can we turn those lights
happy-
down, please?
It releases happy chemicals. And the sun...
Happy chemicals, vitamin
Absolutely,
D.
in your brain. It does. And that's why you should be out in the sunshine.
Summer is the mating season.
It is the mating season. You're more likely to cheat in the summer as well, but that's another story. But people will fornicate on the beach. They'll fornicate absolutely everywhere. So... depends. I'd love to know what beach you're
Come on,
actually going
Yvonne,
to.
last word.
Okay, firstly, I just want to say that it sounds like you're just looking for something to complain about. Women do not exist to look attractive for you, and please stop fat shaming. Brian, go back to
and please
the UK.
stop fat shaming.
Yeah, please stop fat shaming. I mean, obviously we have a crisis here, but people are allowed to go to the beach and undress regardless of what they look like.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have, even hearing myself, now I feel terrible because we're programmed to think that six-pack or nothing, and to feel
Six-pack
insecure.
or nothing.
We shouldn't feel that, but we have been programmed to think that.
Thank all of our wonderful panellists. Thank all our terrific crew, and thanks for having us in your lounge room tonight, or wherever we are. Some people have got us in the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever. Thank you, ladies. It's been terrific, but we've run out of time. And look, Abby's holding up the sign saying time's up, so all we have to do now is just wave goodbye. Thank you, folks. See you
I'm
next
going to wave
week.
with my other hand. Just
Why?
to be a
Yeah,
rogue.
mix it up just a bit. What about
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You're ruining things for me. I
It's actually
can't
really
think
quite
like that.
hard.
What?
To wave with the other hand.
It's very awkward.
Is it?
Waiting for this.